When Spider-Man 2 got initially released back in October last year, it was no doubt that this game was going to be an absolute winning success. With it being the most sold PlayStation game of all time, we're actually starting to see a lot more from what Insomniac can actually do with this character. With the gameplay being absolutely perfect in my eyes, I was surprised that everyone did not enjoy the story, even though I thought it was a very fully fleshed out story, although it did have its problems. Although the game is significantly shorter than the first game, I really don't see this as being a problem, and we definitely got the product that we wanted in the end. However, what truly is the future of Insomniac's universe, and what else do they have to offer in the gamerverse that they've got going on? And this brings us to the conclusion of what Spider-Man 3 could be in the future. Obviously we know the main villains are going to be around Green Goblin and possibly a new Venom and possibly Carnage, unless we get him in the DLC of the next game. However, I think we're actually going to see a little bit more of the Dr. Octavius Green Goblin collab in the third game. But however, let's get started on what I think should be in Spider-Man 3. The biggest theory I see online about the whole Spider-Man 3 thing is that we're probably going to see the death of Peter Parker in this game. Now, some will probably agree with that Peter Parker will eventually pass away in this game. However, I've always seen that Miles could be a better option than this. Yes, we're going to see Miles become the next Spider-Man, but I feel like this would cause more grief to Peter, as Miles and Peter are so close in these games. And we may even have a sequence where Peter feels so much more remorse and even more hatred towards Norman Osborn if the Green Goblin was to be killed by Miles, which we also saw in some kind of concept art. I'm not going to say that this is going to be exactly how the game's going to play out. However, we did see some concept art against Miles versus Green Goblin in the Spider-Man 2 kind of art before we even got the release of Spider-Man 2 back last year. So that just gets me thinking, you know, why don't we see Miles be attacked by Green Goblin, and eventually we see the redemption arc of Peter Parker eventually avenging his death, and eventually we essentially see Peter Parker killing Green Goblin at the end of Spider-Man 3, but he stops himself. I think that would be a much more satisfying ending. A lot of people would probably disagree on that, but honestly, if they actually did go down that route and made Peter Parker just alone again, I think it would carry a lot of gratitude and of course a lot of sadness, but I think it would end off the series really well. And if we saw Peter and MJ eventually get back together and just do what they've been doing since the last game, I think we could actually see something that is somewhat satisfying to watch. We're not going to look at this and say, oh yeah, he's going to be, Peter Parker and MJ are just going to be this all together. They're going to be a lot more than that, and I think Miles' death would actually carry so much against that. And this is really where Peter's remorse would come in for killing Green Goblin, because this is the one rule that Spider-Man would never break, and that is of course to not kill. But how would we get to Miles getting attacked by Green Goblin? Well, possibly something might happen with Harry in the next game, as he isn't too good after the Venom fight in Spider-Man 2. So he may actually take another illness, as he doesn't look the best in condition since the last game. So hopefully we might actually see him get his redemption arc in this game. And who knows, maybe he just takes another illness and eventually he just drops. And this probably is what triggers Norman Osborn to put on the Goblin mantle and eventually blame Spider-Man and Miles for his death, which would make a lot more sense because we obviously saw Norman Osborn being extremely angry and arrogant towards both of the Spider-Men at the end of Spider-Man 2 when, of course, Harry went into the ambulance. Of course, rivaling Green Goblin is probably going to be Dr. Octavius, as we saw in the post-credit scene for Spider-Man 2 as he's working on the so-called final chapter. I definitely prefer keeping Dr. Octavius and Green Goblin as the main villains for Spider-Man 3 and wrapping up the whole symbiote for Spider-Man 2, because I think the symbiote story is just mainly part of this game and I don't think it really deserves to be in anywhere else. So for example, wrap up the Carnage storyline. Make whatever Carnage DLC they're planning to make and eventually just end out in this series. Don't go on and make it in Spider-Man 3 because I don't think Carnage would really fit in Spider-Man 3. It's mainly saved for Doc Ock and Green Goblin, so just make that the main story arc and forget about these characters and end it off in this game, because it wouldn't really feel right making it symbiote in the third game where, yes, of course Spider-Man has his anti-venom suit, but he's not going to be pretty much using the black symbiote again since it's pretty much destroyed. However, I just don't see them making more symbiote stuff in the future, so I think just wrapping it all up in this game would be absolutely perfect. The Advanced Suit 2.0 and 1.0 are some of the best Spider-Man suits ever created. Me personally, I think the 2.0 absolutely shits on the original because I think they just amplified the suit so much better in this game, and it's a lot more memorable and iconic. It's really at that point where I don't think Insomniac can really do anything else to this suit other than just make it even better. But I just don't know how the hell they would be able to do that. Just maybe change the colours a little bit. I mean, I really don't know. They got the suit so perfect this time around that I don't really care about what they do with it next. But just don't make it look as stupid as what it's been in the past. And just don't go forward and make it go completely insane with the whole design, because I think the whole design we've gotten so far is pretty much the one that we've always wanted, and it's definitely a very unique suit in its own way. However, I've always been really saturated on the fact that we're going to see some kind of colour code version of Spider-Man's suit, and it's going to be different colours on his suit, and one I actually particularly like is Spider-Man Red and Black variant of the Advanced Suit 2.0. Now, obviously the Advanced Suit 2.0 is as iconic in itself, and the black and red I think looks just so good on this version of the suit, and I'd love this to be the main suit in Spider-Man 3. With what the possible theme could be in Spider-Man 3, I think the black and red just goes so well with what the story could be in this game, and obviously there's not too many changes about it, it's just really a recolour of the incredible suit, but black and red has always been an incredible colour combination, and I'd absolutely love to see it on in this game. And even if Miles decided to go ahead and get a black and whole red suit that was a lot darker, and they toned down the reds a little bit and made his suit a little bit more grubby than compared to his normal classic black and red suit, I think they could have two of the best colour combination duos of all time, if you even catch what I'm saying here, because this could be incredible. In all honesty, I just hope to God they don't muck up the suit and just keep it very simplified, because as I said, they've absolutely nailed it this time around with the Advanced Suit 2.0, and I'm afraid I just don't want to see them go over the line and make something completely disastrous that it will just absolutely flop. And yeah, I'm not swinging around with no ugly ass Spider-Man suit, so you know, we just gotta get it right this time, and even better than the previous one, because it's all about making it bigger and better with these games, and obviously black and red would be a number one choice in that aspect. As far as combat and abilities go, I don't think they can really change much, considering I think he has the whole package at this point. Of course, we got the anti-venom abilities at the end of Spider-Man 2, and of course he's got the iconic spider arms now against his arsenal. However, if we ever do see any kind of new power-up, just don't make it completely cringe that no one really wants to use it, because I think with both combat in both games, they absolutely nailed. And honestly, if they actually went ahead and just gave us something new that was just terrible, I mean, no one would really use it. It's just going to be dumped in the trash, and we're not going to eventually just go back to the resort of using the original combat weapons and mechanics. So just try and stick to your own guns and just be original again, because I don't think introducing new combat tactics when you've pretty much got it all, and it's very similar to how the suits are as well. Advanced Suit 2.0, I mean, you can't really scrub that suit either. So honestly, Insomniac, just do not make a more fluff of it, because it's definitely not worth making the fluff of. And that especially goes for the swinging. Just tweak it a little bit. Don't go overboard with the swinging. Of course, between Spider-Man 2018 and Spider-Man 2, we saw a drastic change with the Spider-Man 2 web swinging, and it was actually really fun by adding the addition of the web wings, which was also a really fun addition. And all I'd really say just to top this is just add more power-ups while we're traversing the city. I mean, it doesn't really make any harm to just go ahead and make some more traversal abilities, because this web swinging is practically perfect in these games. And another thing I'd love to see in Spider-Man 3 is, of course, just not make MJ ugly. Alright, sorry, okay, listen, alright, I was joking. Alright, I mean, of course, I mean, MJ's an incredible character. Yes, she may have an ugly face model, but come on, guys, I mean, stop shitting on this character. Alright, I mean, she's helped really Peter Parker extremely well in this game. Just let's carry on. And the last thing I'd love to see after Spider-Man 3, and yes, I did say after, is an origin story of Insomniac's Spider-Man universe. Yes, we've never actually seen an Insomniac origin story yet of these characters. And of course, Peter Parker was almost 10 years into doing Spider-Man before the first game. So of course, we're going to eventually see some kind of origin story of how Peter Parker eventually got here. Yes, we're going to see him being bit by the spider. But obviously, I think an origin game would be so much better. We'd actually eventually see more classic villains we hadn't seen up to this point. We'd obviously see the, of course, tragic Uncle Ben's death. But we'd also see a lot more Peter Parker revenge arc and how he actually became Spider-Man in the first place. And I'd love to see how creative Insomniac could get with that in the future, because they're known for being really ballsy and putting even things that are not even completely near the comics, but will do their things in their own way, which I absolutely love about their games. So if they decided to just go all out and do whatever they wanted with Spider-Man 3 and then continue their story with Origins and just make a wrap up of the whole series, I think fans would absolutely love an origin story of how we got up to this point, because it just shows how great these characters are and how much passion Insomniac puts into these characters and make them as good as they are. So honestly, if we do actually see Insomniac doing an Origin Spider-Man spin-off, then count me in, man. I'd love to see how well they can actually dominate that area of Peter Parker's life. So that marks the end of the video, guys. Let me know down below what you want to see in Spider-Man 3. Do you think some things could change? Do you want a lot of things to change? Or what villains do you actually want to see as side quests in the next game? And also, if you actually want to see more of Spider-Man content, leave a link down below. And of course, comment what your favourite Insomniac Spider-Man game is in the comment section. Obviously, join the Discord, join all the stuff down below. And I'd love to see you guys in the Discord, because we're growing every day. And we'd love to see more YouTubers in that Discord. So thank you very much for watching. Take care. And I'll see you in the next one.